All right. What's good, sports world? Welcome to Believe in Bills podcast. I'm your host, Muki Hawkins. On my left, we got Justus, the general, holding it down on the ones and twos, and obviously the guy at the bottom of the screen, the big anchor himself, legendary Buffalo Bill, all Pro Bowl extraordinaire. My guy Ruben Brown is in the building. What's good, my guys?
I'm all good, man. It's a joyous day. It's not a victory Monday, but it's like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the atmosphere in Buffalo whenever there's a Bills win, and the people around the country don't really get it. They don't understand. I think the only people that could probably, you know, understand us is probably soccer fans over in Europe. They're probably the only ones that could understand how your daily life is affected by the win and the loss of your team. So it's a lot that goes into it, but let's go Buffalo.
Right. I don't think anybody went to sleep at all. You know what I mean? Like this is how Buffalo is. It's like I don't think anybody went to sleep. I'm quite sure it was thousands of people waiting for the Bills to get off the plane again at the airport. Um, I mean, what a game. I mean, this
I,
is what we've been anticipating to see all summer, with
Mhm.
this team actually getting the opportunity to see it Friday night was just breathtaking. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just a long time coming just to see our guys on that type of stage, first and foremost, and the
yeah.
way that they went out and performed in that manner let you know that, hey, this
The
team is
hype is
definitely
real.
legit.
The hype is real. The talent's there. They're focused. And day one, they come out and say, "Hey, this is the standard we're gonna set for the 2022 season." And I'm happy for them. I'm excited for them. You know, the Buffalo community. I'm the Buffalo community now. So I'm not. I once played, but now I'm in the community, and also let the fans know that I myself, I'm a football fan. I'm a fan of all sports. I get nervous and excited when I see people like Tony Dorsett. I see Dan Marino. I get excited, man. I'm a football fan, and I like other sports too, but obviously playing. So now that I'm in the community, I'm happy to say, we're all rooting for the Bills. We want to have that joyous feeling after that win, and also we want to give a little stick it to you to the rest of the country.
Oh, without a
For
doubt.
everybody talk down on Buffalo a little bit, like why Buffalo? Oh, Buffalo. No, Buffalo's good. That's what you're jealous about. you know, that's what you're jealous about. Buffalo's good, and we have a great team this year. I'd love to see them continue this momentum that they got, and they had momentum in the preseason leading up to this. Really, they've had momentum since their loss in the playoff game, because the playoff loss was, I would say, don't you guys all feel like that? I could see the Bills moving on.
Mhm.
I mean, that wasn't so much. It was a loss. We have to take it, but it wasn't a loss like you think. It was more like a building block for
Mhm.
the team. I hope. I hope. I hope it's that building block, and it sounds that way, don't y'all? From all reports over camp and leading up to this point now, it sounded as though that was the case,
Yeah,
and
it definitely
now they
does.
can rock.
It definitely does. I mean, when you look at how this Bills defense played yesterday, it just looked like training camp. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It definitely
yeah,
looked like training camp. The way this defense played last night, let you.
oh,
That's how they've been playing all training camp long, giving Josh Allen hell. And Josh Allen told me, during training camp, you know what? It sucks in practice, but it's going to be lovely in games. And boy, oh boy, was it ever so lovely last night. The way this defense went out, 7 sacks, 3 interceptions. I mean, they
yeah.
definitely they definitely look like a Super Bowl contending team. I know it's week one, but Justice, what are your thoughts
Yeah.
on that?
Yeah, I mean, just like Mr. Brown said, the hype around this game and in the city, was spectacular and phenomenal to be a part of. Every year it's like this for the Bills, whether we're good or bad. So for us to have one of the, if not the best team in the league, to go up against the defending Super Bowl champions, a team that we very well could have saw in that game last season, and then to stomp them in their turf the way that we did was just phenomenal to watch. I mean, the first half got a little scary at the end, just from a nerve standpoint. But the second half, man, it was just pure pandemonium for everybody in Buffalo.
No doubt, no doubt. And I mean, that first drive. I mean, that you couldn't script a more perfect first drive. Out of our first time play caller and Ken Dorsey. I mean, that drive
impressive.
Looked better than any Dable drive that he put together last year. And man, there's been miraculous drives last year, but how well executed they put that drive together. It wasn't no duress. It was just simple. We go out here and just dissect you down the field. Super Bowl defending champ Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, like they wasn't even on the field that first drive. I mean, that first drive was well put together, and that's just letting you know what this team is dealing with in the play caller and Ken Dorsey. So I was really excited about that for those guys to go out there and play the way they played. Just an overall review. Josh Allen, right? Okay. 84%, 84% passing. Okay. Just about almost 300 yards. He had the two no-nos. He definitely had the two no-nos. One was his fault, and one we're gonna put on Isaiah McKenzie's tab. But both of them owe me push-ups for that. But other than that, those are the only blemishes. I have to even, talk about Josh Allen. I mean, let's just get away with the negative stuff first, right? The interceptions, got to clean that up. I'm quite sure he knows that already. But just the overall performance in the quarterback play, Reuben. And you didn't play with some of the greats, obviously, and Jim Kelly. What do you see in Josh Allen? More or less that makes him better than Jim Kelly.
I had an interview yesterday, and people were asking me about expectations and things from Josh Allen and what I, former player, would like to see from him. And I said I would like for him to be more in command of the offense. And when people say that, they're not really sure. What do you mean by that? Well, that means you're the quarterback. You know where all the parts are and how the play is supposed to operate and what the offense is designed to do. You really know the strengths and weaknesses of your offensive line and your different players around. And you can see the matchups. And a mature player like the one I played with, Jim Kelly, was able to see whether we're in a bad formation, something that's out of place, that we're going to have trouble with the play, or we need to hurry the play up. It's not always getting into right place so you can go, to the house. Sometimes it's just getting in the right play so that you can get the ball off, you don't lose it, you can make some positive yards and live to fight again. So that type of maturity was what I was looking for from him. And he showed it in leaps and bounds in the game. I think he was very cognizant of his rush that was around him. He understood the defensive fronts and what he was offered, and he took it. And when I say that, you notice early in the game, you would think, oh, they're going to throw the ball deep or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, they took the short passes that were the defense was allowing them just so they can keep the ball in short yardage situations so they can make easy first downs. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think they missed getting a first down when they were on the field. I think they never punted. So that's a testament to Josh and his work and what he's been doing up to now. We got a real deal. We have a Jim Kelly. I always hate to get into these who's the best, arguments, because I'm gonna tell Bills Mafia fans, you got to bear with me, and I'm your brother. My greatest quarterback is Dan Marino. I'm biased because I went to University of Pittsburgh. Buffalo fans, forgive me, but Jim Kelly is my brother. You know what I mean? Dan Marino, I look at him like my uncle. You know, but Jim's my brother. He's a real deal. He's a champion quarterback. And any quarterback it's a tremendous honor to be even mentioned in the same conversation with Jim Kelly. So I don't think there's any greater. Uh, and Buffalo fans don't decide to, you know, go with sizzling over bacon. Jim is the bacon. He got us here. Now, Josh, we want Josh to take us all the way. And he has the tools there, and he has the mindset that a Jim Kelly does, because you remember Jim used to be considered like a linebacker at quarterback. He'd take the punishment. You'd be like, get down. Don't take. No, I'm going to lower the shoulder. I'm going to give you the stiff arm. I'm going to keep this thing going. So there's a lot of similarity. And and obviously we know that Jim has talked to Josh, and I'm sure Josh has maybe studied, and Jim's imparted some stuff, and rightfully so. I mean, listen, the team is better this year because we have better players on it. Plain and simple.
Plain and simple, right? Plain and simple.
That stood true in the days that I played, and before me, I practiced against Ted Washington, Phil Hansen, Pat Williams, Bruce Smith, Bryce Pop, Chris Spellman. I mean,
that's a list.
How about the practice? How about the practice on that? So I can attest to what Josh is saying when he says they get rowdy with their defense, because they're as good as what we face out there when we go. I had no problem facing Cortez Kennedy, which I was very nervous facing, but I had practice against Big Ted and Bruce all week. So let's get it on.
Right. Iron sharpens iron.
I done seen the as good as it gets in here. So now let's go win a game. So Josh has that. He has a lot more athletic, capable players, and then here's the key. At the end of the day, I can boil this game up into one word, and it's a word that coaches love to use. It's called execution. They executed their game plan perfectly. Will that happen every week? No, because an interception by a little missed throw or not sure catch, that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a good team and you want to pat yourself on the back and be recognized as a good team, you have to execute and you have to win on the road. Those two things the Buffalo Bills did, and they're more than capable of continuing to do. Just, Lord, I mean, look, they clean this up and get better.
Oh man,
I'm reserving my tickets now.
For real. I mean, it's scary that they had 4 turnovers yesterday.
Yeah,
nobody's even talking about that.
Yeah,
they had 4 turnovers and still managed to put up 31 points and still managed to beat the Super Bowl defending champions in their building by 21 points. Nobody's even talking about it. Is hard to win turning the ball over 4 times against the crappiest team in the NFL, but to do it against the Super Bowl defending champs on the road, and that didn't even matter. That's real scary. Everybody's talking about, okay, well, the Bills had a perfect game yesterday. That game was nowhere near perfect.
No, they got ways to go.
The sheer domination of it just superseded all the bad spots of the Bills, per se, the bad plays that they did have. Once they clean that up, I don't see a team. I just don't see a team. I don't want to be, just like clearly optimistic or saying like the way they play like this, it's not a team out there that can beat them. But if they play better, and then we know that they're capable of playing better, I just can't see a team beating this squad. I mean, what they just put on display against Aaron Donald, obviously the best defensive player in the NFL
Yeah,
by
yeah,
far.
yeah,
You got Jalen Ramsey, probably the best perimeter defender
yeah,
in the game.
yeah, yeah,
Not a problem.
yeah.
Not a problem. So what combination defensively that the Bills are going to face down the line, other than that combination that they just faced last night, that's going to be an issue with this Buffalo Bills offense? I don't really see it. Justus, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, start off, in the last 6 games, the Buffalo Bills have not punted in 4 of them. And that's kind of nutty. When you talk about dominance, that's about as good as it gets. And of course, last night, we talked about the turnovers and it looked a little sloppy. It looked like, this is team. The only team that I can see beating the Buffalo Bills is the Buffalo Bills. And last night, it kind of showed that, right? You're up against a team that just raised the banner, literally
Mm-hmm.
that same night. And, you are dominating them in every way, shape, or form until you start beating yourself. And then you allow them to come back into the game. Once you shore up all those mistakes, it's a landslide. You run away with it. You got Josh throwing for 85%, probably should have been 90%, for being completely honest. The interception to Isaiah McKenzie definitely wasn't his fault. And also, even to throw to Crowder, you maybe want to see Crowder come back to the ball a little bit instead of fading the way he did, but it wasn't the greatest throw in the world. You take a look at how Dorsey was doing. You saw the offensive line be a lot more impactful in the run game than you ever saw it under Dable.
Mm-hmm.
You got people pulling, you got sweep plays designated.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just looked more concise. And I thought that was absolutely huge. Devin Singletary averaging 6 yards a carry. Josh Allen, I didn't even think Josh Allen was going to be running this year at all. Who comes out and give you half a century in rushing yards, right?
Mm-hmm.
The defense is we'll get to the defense later, but the way Dorsey, was able to just come out there and put his stamp on this offense, like he put the league on notice, right? Everybody was talking about, oh, we don't know about the Bills, we don't know about Josh Allen. They lost this all-time great offensive coordinator, and another guy comes in, and none of the turnovers were his fault. Like, he called essentially a perfect game, if we're being completely honest.
He called a good game.
I mean, the Cook fumble, the Moss fumble, I'm a proponent of just letting Devin Singletary work. I like those guys, and they're good secondary guys, but I feel like Devin Singletary is ultra talented, and he could be a top 10 back in this league if he was given the opportunity to do so.
Yes.
Again, you look at 6 yards per carry, he only got 8 attempts or something.
Yeah.
So I want to see more of Devin Singletary, but you couldn't ask for more. Like, I mean, outside of the turnovers, it literally was like watching the Patriots playoff game. You didn't see the punter on the field once except to hold the ball for Tyler Bass. So it was a lot of fun to watch last night. But what you guys think of the defensive effort that was put on display?
Group.
Well, defensively up front, it started there. Let's just pull the Von Miller thing out. I mean, 2 sacks first game in. Wow, that's pretty impressive. I mean, we were thinking maybe 1 sack, maybe some pressures, but 2 sacks. All right. Now the defensive lineman that we've been expecting to be stout with the run and give us some depth and activity up front so that we can rush for it and we're not sending blitzes all the time and we can get in the coverage. It's happening. They've gotten off to a really good start. Now, how good is the Rams offensive line? That is the question. And that is to be seen, because this is the thing about defense, guys. Defense always gets off to a great start before offense. What we saw from the Bills offense is rare. Very, very rare. And you in rarefied air when you're first game in, your offense march down the field, score a touchdown with no problem. And then your defense is usually, even when you go to camp, the defense is always faster because the concept of defense is just simpler. Go get the ball. You know what I mean? In offense, you all right, 11 of us move the ball. There's not one of us moving the ball. Well, in defense, you can be a little bit more athletic and freelance because your job is to, go get the ball pretty much. And so they usually have an advantage on how they can play. And they can disrupt a lot of offensive lines early. I know myself playing O line, we would play early in the season a defensive line that we thought we were going to catch all kind of hell with, and then as we gel and play better together and get to know a little bit more nuances and picking up some of their tendencies a lot better, because first game you don't know too many of the tendencies of which way the guy likes to slant and stuff. So they got that advantage. So I would say I'm hesitant to shower like a ton of optimism. The optimism I have is for the offense. Unbelievable. I'm excited for that because I know what it takes to develop an offense and get it to move consistently. And they're doing that. They've been doing it for several years. This defense is going to face tougher lines. That's why I'm making this statement. I think that the lines that they will face are going to be tougher, and that's when we will know what we really have. Because if they are what we saw um, this Thursday, yesterday, on a consistent basis,
Mhm.
then our defensive line is greatly improved. And I look, I ain't even touched linebackers and DBs because any Bills Mafia, anybody from Buffalo know we good in that department.
Mhm.
We strong at the DBs and we're strong at the linebacker position. The guys can run around and make plays in the pass from the linebacker position. They can cover and be effective in the pass game. And if they come, they're gonna be dangerous coming. And same thing with our DBs. DBs can get on you, and if they have to come up for support, they rugged dudes. They're not no. I mean, everyone teased Dion. Dion never tackled anybody. No, they're not one-dimensional players, is what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry to cut. Not prime time. Prime time is the man right now. So, but you guys see what I'm saying. I'm totally impressed about the effort that the D line put out. What was it, Mook? 6 sacks, 7 sacks?
7 sacks. Seven
Seven
sacks.
sacks, two by Vaughn, and the rest is spread out throughout the group. And I'm gonna
And
tell
they
you,
even got a pick
and
on
a
the line.
pick. Yeah, yeah. So that's what you want from your D line. Take all the heavy lifting off your linebackers and DBs.
Mhm.
Make the job easy for them. Get in the face, throw them hands up, be around the feet of the quarterback, make it uncomfortable for him to throw the ball. And if our D line consistently do that, what we saw yesterday, um, oh man. Now, wait a minute. While we're talking about D line, someone got dinged up. What's that D tackle that got dinged up? He came out for a second. Did he
Ed
play?
Oh,
Oliver.
Ed Oliver.
Oliver. Now, that's a guy we hanging a lot on
Yeah, gotta have him.
him. Ed is going to have a Pro Bowl year. You don't have to have. I know he wants to, but Vaughn being there, Ed's got to really bring some weight, and be effective all around game. He's going to have to push the pocket when he's double teamed and stuff like that to make it congested for the quarterback to throw in. And when he gets a one-on-one, he got to win. You know, because that's why Vaughn is there. So that you guys can get some one-on-ones. You get one-on-ones. You pro football players. You getting paid. Let's see it.
Right.
And they have the ability, is what we're talking about. They got the ability. They've gotten off to a tremendous start. Let's see them maintain it. I reluctantly, yeah, and it's not an O line D line thing. It's just I just know the development of a season, and I'll give you an example, guys. We I think it was Drew Bledsoe's first year in Buffalo. and our offensive line was scattered with young guys and inexperienced guys. We went down to Jacksonville and we shut them out. They did not breathe on Drew, did not breathe on him. But the rest of the season, we fell apart like a bad joke. I mean, our guys were in and out of the lineup. We didn't have any consistency, and there was no more. And that was early in the game. I think the first or second game of the season, and we were thinking, oh man, we gonna walk all over everybody. No, that wasn't the case. They changed up the D line and changed some schemes, and a player went down, and the next thing you know, I think we ended up 3-13 that year. I mean, I hate to say,
yeah, we don't want to relive any one of those, but nevertheless,
yeah. So
this
yeah, they
defense
look
is
great. They look great. They look like they're off. And getting off to a good start is a big thing, man. We can
yeah,
get deep
it's
into it.
definitely a big thing because some of the things that you look at in this defense last year that was issues. One, wasn't getting to the quarterback. Two, they really couldn't stop teams on and running the ball. You know, they
Yeah,
had some
getting them off the
difficulties
field.
there with stopping the run. You know, third down percentage, they were, you know, clearly one of the best when it came to getting players off the field on third down. But when you look at those three categories, 7 sacks yesterday, they 46% on third down for the Rams. That's relatively high for this
Mm-hmm.
Bills defense to give up 46% on third down. But when you look at the flip side of it, the Bills was 90% on third down.
Oh,
That's
killed it.
crazy.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
yeah,
on third
Or
down.
more
Where is
than
the Rams
double.
defense?
yeah,
Again, we're talking Jalen Ramsey, Aaron
yeah,
Donald.
yeah.
When it's time for them to make their money, they was a no call, no show. 90% on third down. And we
Great
talking once
game plan.
again, Dr. Josh, surgery with the chainsaw yesterday. So
Yeah, yeah,
you look at the run game when they only held the Rams only 52 rushing yards.
yeah,
A guy like Jordan Phillips, 6'6", 340 pounds,
yeah,
he had 2 sacks yesterday.
yeah.
You know, when he was with the Bills 2 years ago, he led the team in sacks, 9.5.
Hey,
So now you
yeah.
got that back. You add that with Von Miller. You revamp, you know, the defensive line again with Tim Settle and Daquan Jones. You know, a more mature Ed Oliver to go around with
Mm-hmm.
this group. Greg Rousseau, who had a sack as well. Boogie Basham with the tip interception.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, on full display last night, the Bills defensive line clearly showed you probably one of the best rotations you can see in the NFL on display
Yeah.
week 1. And Shaq Lawson was inactive.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was wondering about that. Well, so what's the deal? Is it just a depth thing or is it health?
It's just a depth thing.
Oh, all right.
When you
Whoa,
look at
that's a
it,
big
Shaq
talk.
Lawson, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a depth team. This team is really deep, bro. Like
Wow.
you look at, you got draft picks that's really ahead of Shaq, even though the Bills drafted him
Right.
first. You
Right.
know
Right.
when you know
Right.
with the Bills, but you got Boogie Basham, you got Rousseau, you got Von Miller, obviously,
Yeah.
and you got
AJ
Epinesa.
Epinesa.
Those 4 guys, and then this Shaq Lawson. So, and Espinosa, I think he played well. So it's going to
Right.
be
Right.
topsy turvy. Like when you play a team like New England, you may see Shaq Lawson suit up that game because he sets the edge a little bit more better in
Right.
the
Right.
run game than most do pass rushing the quarterback. So that's why you probably didn't see Shaq
Yeah.
Lawson this week. You may see him next week, but this is how deep this Bills defensive line is when you got guys like Shaq Lawson, a healthy scratch, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. You need
we
that.
saw it all training camp long. And we saw it on full display last night. And the scary part about it, again, it could get much better. All right, yeah. I mean, when you look at, you was definitely right, Bills fan. 1970 style of toilet paper got replaced with Jordan Phillips, a guy who, you know, knows Leslie Frazier's scheme, thrived in
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. Yeah.
excelled in it, earned his bag out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now you bring this guy back for, you know, the Family Dollar discount, just like Shaq Lawson, and look what you get. You know,
Yeah.
look at the rewards you're getting because guys want to come back here to Buffalo because they love the process, they trusted the process, want to be back in the process,
Mm-hmm.
and just look at the return of what you're getting, the way that those guys went out there and shut down the Super Bowl defending champs in that fashion. they don't know what hit them. In the words of UG Robinson, sometimes you just got to just punch boys in the mouth, and that's what the boys just did last night. Went out there in LA and punched them all in the
They
mouth
did
on
the job.
offense and in defense, and this has definitely got the city of Buffalo rocking right now. Definitely rocking right now.
Buffalo on point.
I think one of the coolest thing about last night's performance is the fact that when you look at the film and you see how the D-line played, Von Miller specifically, his sacks came from domination, which we don't see a ton in Buffalo, right? Typically, the sacks are because the secondary is so good, the quarterback has nowhere to throw, and eventually somebody gets there. Von Miller is going up under people. He is going through, like, it's the domination factor that I think is the most encouraging to me. You look at when Matthew Stafford fumbled the snap and Greg Rousseau saw it, he took advantage of it. He ran right through the tackle and got to the ball carrier. Jordan Phillips was absolutely magnificent last night. Those two sacks were so important, and just the energy he brings. Having that back in Buffalo is going to be important as anything else he brings, and also I think the secondary is a big part of the D-line success. So I think that's the one thing where, what Mr. Brown was talking about, how over time, they might take a step back. I think our secondary is maybe a contingency plan for that, because when you look at how Dane Jackson has been playing since Tre'Davious White went out, he has been like Pro Bowl caliber type, cornerback over there. Christian Benford, the guy who I've been talking about since we drafted him, looked phenomenal last night. Kyrie Elam even looked good. Like,
what about my pick guy?
Dane Jackson.
My pick guy?
Oh, Jordan. Dane Jackson. Cooper Kupp is literally the only receiver who could do anything versus his secondary last night. He was the best receiver in the league last year. So that says a lot. And I think the fact that you have your Von Miller who's going out there and making dominant plays to get to the quarterback. So you're gonna have to give him extra attention. Ed Oliver, I mean, we've seen what Ed Oliver can do versus cover. If you want to single block Ed Oliver, that's your own funeral.
That's your fault.
if Jordan Phillips is going to continue to bring this type of pressure and this type of energy to go along with those two, is going to be complete madness from this defensive line all year. And I'm excited to see it. And then you got Boogie Basham out there. I don't like the fact that he's number 55, but I do like him getting his hands up in the air, getting the catch. Making a really big play there. So and then another thing is, you take a look at the Rams offensive line and they lost a legend, and they lost some other pieces as well. The Bills were in that predicament at one point where they didn't really have a solidified offensive line, and it was hard for them to win games, but the defensive line taking advantage of that is something that I am looking forward to seeing all year, because you only face the Indianapolises and the Dallas don't even have a good O-line no more, but those type of teams only a few times out of the year.
You go.
And if you can have the confidence of an elite defensive line because they're beating up on all these other people, they might actually come in and dominate those good offensive lines just from the momentum. So if week one is indicative of how this season is going to go, the Buffalo Bills will undoubtedly be lifting up the Lombardi in February, because you look at the Bills schedule and you say, this one's tough. That might be a Green Bay, Kansas City. The Buffalo Bills are that team now. The Buffalo Bills are the team that every other team in the league looks and they see Buffalo on the schedule and damn, man, we got to play the Bills. They're the good team now. They're the standard now. Everybody is trying to accomplish what the Bills have accomplished. And you got the AFC West trying to do what they do, stacking up and everything. But the beauty about what Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott have done with this team is they have set this team up for success on longevity. You've got the best quarterback in the league, and then you got a top 3 wide receiver, and then everybody else is kind of like just really good. It's not like top heavy. The depth is crazy. They have the best roster in the league, bar none, in my opinion. So people trying to emulate the Bills by going out and signing all these free agents. I mean, you're going to lose those guys eventually. They're already superstars. The Buffalo Bills are developing superstars. They got a 6th-round pick out there starting over the
Mm-hmm.
1st-round pick and
Wait,
balling
wait, wait,
out.
wait. You got a 6th-round pick and a 7th-round pick. Dane
Yeah.
Jackson was a
It's
7th-round
exactly
Seventh
pick.
round pick.
that's
Christian
Yes.
Benford was
development.
a 6th-round pick.
That's coaching, and it's just it's so crazy. Yeah, I'm 27 years old. As soon as I got into football, the Music City Miracle happened, and I got to watch 17
Uh,
years of disappointment. So now I get to see this, and it just makes my heart happy. I didn't get to see the days where you and Jim Kelly and those guys are out there doing your thing. You know what I mean? So this is really special.
my
And
years were a little spotty, so I was in college watching Thurman and Bruce and all those guys doing their thing, and then to actually get up and be close with them and experience what it took to do what they did is what I learned. But the one thing that I know that all good teams do well is they learn, like, success is, winning is a contagious, losing's contagious. You can lose, not just by the things you think about in your head before you even get to the game. You'll lose the game. But once you've won, you start thinking about all the things you did to help you win, and you pull that off a couple of times. The next thing you know, you're in a routine and nobody can stop you. This has happened to me several times through our playing career. Happened a few times in Buffalo. We had lost a few games, and then we get on a run. Once you get one, two, maybe that third game under your belt, then it's a wrap. The people gonna be scared because
Mhm.
that momentum is almost impossible to stop. I wrote it with the Chicago Bears all the way to the Super Bowl. Now we lost to the Colts, but also I remember years where we would do that through the season. We would get on a run, and teams that can get on
The Rex
sustainable
Grossman Bears.
run. Yeah, and Kyle Orton. Kyle Orton. Kyle Orton carried the rock for us through the rock for us half the year. We ran the ball with Thomas Jones all the time, and Brian Urlacher them and Mike Brown. They were taking the ball. They were like an offense over on defense. Peanut Tillman was knocking the ball out there, left them. They were scoring more points on defense than we were scoring on offense. So and I learned from them in that group. We got a momentum going, and the year before we had only won 3 games. The next year we went on like a 9-8 game win streak. Once we got the taste of that, and I'm a 9-game win streak through a long tough season. Oh man, it was a wrap for everybody. So I can say that these are the types of things that will encourage more success for the Bills. They've put together, gone out, executed, got their first win under
Okay.
the belt. And they're expected. There's a lot of pressure on them to reach this goal of that's set in front of them. But they can't bite off a bigger piece than they need to. Correct the small mistakes, enjoy the win, enjoy how good it feels. Work so hard that I gotta have that again. I gotta. Oh no, losing? No, victory. I want victory Monday every time we play. And you'll get in the habit of it. And trust me, it's true. It's really true. As Peyton Manning, as Tom Brady. I know the same thing they know. You get on a run and the thing's rolling, it's a wrap. And same thing happens with losing. You get two losses in a row, you're really in a jam. But you get 3 wins in a row, and this team is built for that. And you can have 3 wins in a row when you're a team that's good enough to hit the road and win on the road.
Right.
all the different factors that come in play. I'm sure Von Miller had a lot of back and forth going in, but he focused in on the game. They got the win. There's a lot of hype leading up to the game. Everybody focused in. They got the win.
No doubt.
And hopefully with being, and I'm sure McDermott is, because he's that guy. He's that process guy. He's reminding them to savor it. It's hard to win in the NFL. People talk bad about the years that the who is it, Detroit Lions, and somebody else went winless. They didn't win a game.
Detroit
And
again.
right, well, that was Detroit.
Cleveland
But
had one game. I can't remember who the other team was, but
I feel so bad for teams that don't win a game,
Cleveland.
because honestly,
they did go.
Yeah, Cleveland. I think
They did go
Cleveland
winless,
also.
yeah.
So I think teams that don't win games practice and work harder, honestly, than teams that win. Honestly,
Because they feeling themselves.
Well, the teams
teams
that
that win?
lose, they looking for they looking for everything. I mean, they get bringing psychologists in talk to you to try to
Unlucky
what
pin.
is the
I'm bringing
problem?
unlucky pin
Yeah,
advice.
you trying to figure out everything. Whereas the once you got on a roll and you winning, it's just more of the same. Let's keep this going. Let's not get off track. Let's keep the focus here. You locked in. Whereas when you're losing, where do we go to get locked in? You don't know yet. You're still struggling to find that, and your mistakes are bigger, you know. But when you win, like the Bills won, along with being all the good coaches that I've had, they are really great at helping you, have that feeling and enjoy that feeling. But they're always keen to point out those mistakes, because those mistakes, I mean, let's look at the mistakes in the Bills games, the turnovers, the fumble. These things could have cost the game. It didn't, but it could have. An offsides could have cost the game, because we don't know if we're going to be in a dog fight down to the last second, and that offsides penalty was the yardage we lost. They didn't get the first down. Now we're out of the game, or a flagrant foul or something like that, or just a turnover. You turn the ball over, you fumble the ball or something like that, or you don't catch it and it goes into the DB's hands. Well, you may not get the opportunity to go back out there and play again, a la playoffs in Kansas City.
Right.
You know what I mean? You might not get back out there, even though you're good enough to do it. You might not get out there. So, as excited as we are today about the Bills, how great they look and everything, they have just as much work to maintain it. Maybe more work to maintain what they got going for the future.
No doubt.
Coach, I got a question for you.
When you look at this, is one thing about this Bills defense I want to touch on. No blitzing yesterday.
Right.
Yeah. That's the key.
All right. So Coach McDermott, Coach Frazier finally got what they were been looking for since he's got hired as the coach. He finally found a 4-man rotation that can get pressure. He finally found a 4-man rotation that could pretty much dictate the game, that could dictate the line of scrimmage. Once again, very scary for those guys not to blitz at all yesterday. To come up with 4 sacks, 3 picks. Tremaine Edmonds had 10 tackles. Okay.
That's where you wanted to read in the stat sheet. Yeah.
Right. Nobody's even talking about that. He had 10 tackles. And again, they went out there basically with, I'm not knocking, where they selected Dane Jackson at in the 7th round, because to me, Dane Jackson was a steal in the 7th round.
Come on, hell the pit. Come on.
Sure.
Right, hell the pit, right? Christian Benford. Yeah. Come on, man, from Villanova. We talking FCS school out here starting in the NFL, a 6th-round pick. And you going out there,
best roster in the league.
You're rotating rookies against Cooper Krupp and company. All right. I mean, okay, Cooper Kupp gonna get off, but nobody else. I mean, Allen Robinson was only targeted twice yesterday.
Shut down.
Twice yesterday. You got Ob Beckham over there in the Ram suite
Yeah.
tweeting, "Sheesh, Bills Mafia." I can't.
Yeah.
We ain't know what he's gonna say after that. I can't wait to join y'all week 10. And that,
Yeah.
He said he wanted either 3 or 7.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely going to happen. So,
Oh, Beckham want to come to Buffalo now?
oh, everybody want to come to Buffalo now. Reuben,
Oh,
can you
come
imagine
on,
that?
come
They want
on.
to. Buffalo is the place where players want to come now. All right, they want to
I'm
get
gonna
to
tell
Buffalo.
y'all, man. I'm gonna tell you. I was drafted by the Bills, and when I was drafted, I wasn't expecting to be drafted by them actually. And we really weren't educated on where Buffalo was. Honest, we were like, oh, we'll be in the city tomorrow, No, not even. Not gonna make it to the city from Buffalo. So we get there, and from the get-go, it was like a college atmosphere. One of my buddies that played, Keith Hamilton, who played for the Giants at the time. He was a D tackle for the New York Giants. And when I was drafted, he told me, he said, "Oh man, you lucked up. You went to the best spot." I was like, "Really? You in New York and everything?" He's like, "Man, that's football up there." So the outside world has no idea. Like if you play football, you want to play in Buffalo. If you play professional football, out of all the places you could play, you want to play in Buffalo. Trust me. Because if you came from a college that had any type of pageantry whatsoever, and I played the Ohio States, I played the Notre Dames, I played the Miamis, and you name it, Texas, all right, and the pageantry and the fan base behind them is like no other.
Mhm.
And you go to the NFL, you lose that. That doesn't happen. Let's talk about all the different fan groups around the league. Dog Pound. Dog Pound came.
Oh,
There you
mentioned the
cut out.
dog time. You went
Sorry
out.
about that. Sorry about that. But the Dog Pound had to come up to Buffalo and hang out. We showed them a good time. They loved it. You go to the Patriots fans, they ain't got no fans. You go to the Giants fans, Jets fans, they ain't got no fans. The Green Bay, they are right. They okay. Pittsburgh got a strong contingent. But time and time again, we've shown over and over all the years, Buffalo runs the show
Good or
when it
bad.
comes to fans and the support of their professional team. So for football players, if you want to be in the football world of the hot spot and this place to be and do your job and have the comforts of the right environment for doing your job, Buffalo's it. Buffalo always has been it. I'm partial to Chicago because I chose to go out there also. But a lot of I've talked to a lot of people from Buffalo that know that Buffalo and Chicago are like cousins, brothers. You know what I mean? Buffalo's not like Pittsburgh. It's not like New England. It's not like Jacksonville. It's not like any of these places. It's you related to Chicago. Y'all cousins is in Chicago. Trust me.
Windy City.
Yeah, your family there.
You look
But
at Jim Kelly, he didn't want to come to Buffalo. Now he
nah,
lives in Buffalo.
now he lives there.
LaShawn McCoy didn't want to
Mhm.
come. Stephon Diggs didn't want to come. And they
Yeah.
all ended up loving it here. So
Steve Tasker lives there, year round. All the guys are constantly coming back. You cannot uh it is a huge family event or thing. Once you become a Buffalo Bill alumni, you're a family of the Buffalo Bill community. Everyone there, they know you. They're gonna take you in. If it's cold outside, they give you a warm place to hang. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
If need to shovel you out of your driveway, Buffalo gonna help you shovel out of your driveway.
That's right.
You know what I
City
mean?
of good neighbors, but we also a city that's kicking some butt out here right
Oh,
now.
you
And speaking of kicking butt,
rough
let's just
buff,
talk.
baby.
Let's
Rough
let's
buff.
let's just chime into our receivers. All right, our
All right.
number one and number two receivers. that gave the Rams some fits out there yesterday. Let's just chime right into it. Jalen Ramsey versus Stephon Diggs all day yesterday. Justice, what's your take on that?
I mean, it kind of reminds me of the J.C. Jackson game when he plays the Patriots. When, because of course Jalen Ramsey is a little bit of a talker. He infamously caused Josh Allen trash, and now he has lost 3 straight games to Josh Allen in his career. And you can see them kind of chatting it up on the field, Jalen Ramsey and Stephon Diggs, and there was a play where Josh he faked the handoff and then immediately took off up the middle. And right before he stepped over the line of scrimmage, he threw it in the back of the end zone to Stephon Diggs, and he just missed him.
Just missed, yeah.
And Stephon Diggs was looking at Ramsey
it's like you lucky.
you lucky. Yeah. And then Ramsey over there talking, he talking. Come fourth quarter, what was that? 50, 60 yards down the field, and then he went right back to Ramsey and he talked to him. I told you. So I love Stephon Diggs. I love seeing that, man. But Gabriel Davis. Oh man, people say they weren't sure if he could be a wide receiver number 2, another late round draft pick, and he is really good. I mean, Stephon Diggs was a late round draft pick. So again, it's the scouting. Like these guys are incredible out here finding this talent, that nobody else sees the value in, bringing them in, developing them, turning them into bona fide superstars. Like I don't know, Gabriel Davis is not that fast. But somehow he just keep getting behind safeties and making plays. So he's he may not have like crazy Julio Jones, AJ Brown type physical tools, but the tools that he does have, he uses them extremely well. His hands are phenomenal. Every catch on the side, his concentration, awareness. He's a brilliant player in terms of learning the playbook and executing his routes and everything that goes with just being a good wide receiver. And I think working with the John Browns and the Cole Beasleys and Stephon Diggs, I think that worked for him. I think it's helping him become the wide receiver he is. And, I think he could be one of the better, if not the best wide receiver 2 in the NFL if he continues to play how he's played in his last 2 games. You're only as good as, your last showing. His last showing last night was pretty damn good, and then the showing before that was legendary. So I mean, he is definitely on the right path. The stock is trending up, and Stephon Diggs just go out there and continues to show why he is, one of the top paid wide receivers in the league, and why he is one of, if not the best in the entire NFL.
Yeah. What's your take on the Bills wide receivers versus
my receivers, man? I always love my receivers, man. They're always an eclectic group of kids, and they always far out there. I really took notice to Isaiah McKenzie, and I particularly was looking at him because of what his role is as a receiver. If I'm not mistaken, it seems like that he's going to be all over the place. And am I right or wrong in saying it seems as though he's filling the Cole Beasley-ish type role somewhat?
Probably even extended because Cole Beasley didn't do the shifting.
Right. Yeah. So he doesn't really have as much in his arsenal. Well, what I'm saying is I see Isaiah having more in his arsenal than Cole Beasley. Cole was solid. He was a great player throughout his career. If you were a young receiver coming in and you heard that name, you're like, yeah, I want to be like that. But I think Isaiah is going to break out this year for some reason. I feel that. He had a miss catch or something there, but then to come back and secure a catch for the touchdown is a big deal for receivers, guys. I mean, receivers, when them balls hit them hands and they don't bring them in or they awkward, they can go in a funk. They like pitchers in baseball. It might not be the right day for them. You know what I mean? And you got to put up with the finicky jokers. Because when they're good, they're amazingly good, like Stephon Diggs, obviously. Stephon is, I played with, thank God, Andre Reed. I mean, come on. I saw what he did. Stephon obviously does a lot of those type of things. It's a different type of receiver, but I'm stating he's at that level. He's an Andre Reed level. You know what I mean? Stephon's up there, so we know what we're going to get from him. But how the coordinator and Josh incorporates the rest of the receiving bunch is going to be an ongoing developing thing throughout the season. It seems as though he's going to be content spreading it around to everybody, but making sure Stephon. Because what was the first pass out of the gates was to Stephon, right? It was a
Right.
short pass to Stephon.
Right.
Secured that, got Stephon going, which all smart coordinators and all smart quarterbacks always you have to get your good receiver going first, or else you don't want them coming to the line pouting. I'm open. I'm open. I'm open. When you start hearing that from your top receiver, you got problems. But you start that game off the way they did. I hate starting the game off with passing the ball, but the NFL's different now than my day. So passing the ball can be considered running. I could talk. We'll talk about that down the road. Incorporate how the pass is the run, but getting the ball into Stephon's hands early and often is going to be a big part of the success and the chemistry of what's going to happen with this team. Once Stephon gets his hands on the ball, all right, who else is open? Who else is coming free? Because now that defense knows we're going to try to, they got to go over there and try to Stephon. Stephon's getting heated up. Then somebody else is free. Somebody else is working their man and getting open. And
Right.
I'm personally just watching the game. I was like, this Isaiah kid is going. I was thinking it was going to be a heavy dose of backs out of the backfield passing and Knox, hit it to the tight end as much as possible. I know they went there, but it seems as though that missing piece, that dangerous piece, that I guess Cooper Cup-esque piece is Isaiah's for the taking, I think.
Yeah.
And, what do you get? You guys see that at all? Or,
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, that's what made Cole Beasley so expendable. That New England game last year with the game that Isaiah McKenzie had, the 11 catches, 125 yards. You can't put that on the bench moving forward. Like, how do you put Cole Beasley didn't give you those type of games all season? But I get it. You paying him $8 million right now, so he got to play, right? Not this year. Cole Beasley, you are gone. You don't give us no run after the catch. Isaiah McKenzie is probably one of the fastest guys on the team, and you are able to see how he's able to, get the ball in short place, in short and tight areas, and be explosive with the ball in his hands. So yeah, you look at it 1, 2, and 3. Those are Josh Allen's guys, and then you look at Dawson Knox, 1 catch, 5 yards. Next week it might not be that way. It might be Isaiah McKenzie getting 11 catches, Stephon Diggs getting 5 catches, Gabe Davis getting another 5 catches, Dawson Knox getting 5 catches. You're never going to know how this offense is going to come at you. And then again, Ken Dorsey did an excellent job of making sure his receivers were in the right positions to receive the football, moving guys like Stephon Diggs around at the slot, moving them in motion, freeing him up to make plays. Last year, we didn't see that. You just see Stephon Diggs on the outside taking on a double team. You know what I mean?
Well,
so now that's just the part of what Dorsey brings. Him being an experienced quarterback, playing at the U and all that good stuff. Now as an offensive coordinator, sees the game totally different than, Dable. And it's not taking nothing away from Dable. But you got a quarterback that's calling the plays. So he's out there as a quarterback. So the Bills is kind of like cheating right now, with the offense coordinator that they do have, with the pieces that he has in this offense to, go out and put on display what they went out there and did last night. And again, they can only get better. I mean, you can only get better from this output. So guys, before we go, our hour is just as past.
It's been an hour. We ain't even touched nothing, Mook. Man, come on.
Touch nothing, right?
Come on, man. Buffalo is. I'll tell you right now, the way I know Buffalo, Buffalo is the type of town, and always been the town. They would sit and listen to people talk about the Bills all day long. All right. So, time constraints got us in an hour, but hey, we might have to keep going.
They had to catch us at another show.
Yeah, that's right. That's
I
right.
got
One
other things
love,
I still
guys.
have to do today. It is Friday. I have other shows I gotta be on. I got football
Yeah.
practice myself. I got games I gotta go scout
That's
myself.
what's
I
up.
gotta do what the Bills did this weekend in the high school field somewhere.
That's
But
what's up.
before we chime in a little bit quick, Bills Tennessee, or no, we're not going to talk about Tennessee. We're going to talk Tennessee Tuesday, Thursday. You catch us out. Please like, share, subscribe.
Yeah,
Believe in
yeah,
Bills Network.
yeah.
We're going to be
Oh, I got
coming
a
on.
lot of stuff to talk about Tennessee, man. Number one, I hate them, and number two, the coach. They coach. I got long history with them, so I'm gonna
Vrabel.
tease y'all with that. I got long history with him.
Yeah, we're gonna
All
get
right.
into that this week, fans. So are you believing Bills fans? Make sure you look us up Tuesday and Thursday. We're on the fan base as well. We're on Power 96.5 as well. You can check us out. We definitely gonna be talking about Bills and Titans all this week. But guys, any concerns? Anything that you saw last night that concerned you regarding the Bills?
Running backs holding on to the ball. All right, first and foremost, and just some stuff up front on the line. I would say just give the line more opportunity to set quick. The good thing about Josh getting rid of the ball really fast, it helps the offensive line. Just more of that, and more of giving the offensive line to be more attacking. Stepping forward opposed to setting up and pass blocking, and the running backs holding on to the ball.
Justice?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I would like to see more Devin Singletary, and it's not to
Yes.
say I want to completely like eradicate James Cook, Zach Moss, or anything. I just want to see the majority of it be Devin Singletary, and maybe have those guys spell him when he needs a breather or whatever the case may be. I'm not too worried about the offensive line because they just went up against the
Yeah,
most
a monster.
dominant player
Yeah.
in our generation. So I do want to say before we go, not too many concerns. I will say that the Buffalo Bills offense had 4 turnovers last night, and the defense stopped the defending champions
Each time.
to 10 points. So imagine if none of those turnovers happened, what that game could have looked like.
Mhm.
And that's what I'll leave off with.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're kind of like some concerns, but they're fixable concerns. They're really easy fixable concerns. Like one,
Yeah.
take care of the football, protect the football.
Yeah.
Just protect the
Yeah.
football. One,
Yeah.
and
We
what
have
you'll
fun
get,
with it.
what the outcome will be. So yeah, my concerns is, I mean, damn, how can this team get better? That's the only thing I'm concerned about is how can this team get better? And we know they can get better. We know it's some plays that they left out there. We know some plays that they still wish they can have back, but they still won by 21 points. They ordered the pizza versus the Super Bowl defending champion.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like they
Yeah,
played last
putting
night
it down.
like they were the Super Bowl defending champion.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, act like it until somebody else come by and prove you different. You know what I mean? So let's go Buffalo.
That's right. Let's go Buffalo. So we'll be right back at you with more Believe in Bills this Tuesday. Check your local listings for Justus in general, for former All-Pro guy Ruben Brown on deck. I'm Muki Hawkins. Only thing I got to say is, do you believe now?
Go Bills.
That's what's up.
Check your